Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the Film and Music Show. It's very exciting. Our special guest is Sharon Mullen. Before we bring her out, let's welcome the star of our show. It's Dr. Madalene Chan. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Dr. JACALYN. Hello, viewers.
It's so nice to see you today. And I know it's a hot one there in London, right? You're sorting it out.
Yeah, it is. But, you know, as well as it being hot, when the rain comes through, it gets humid. So it's like being in tropical heat. Yeah. Whew. I should have put my makeup on properly.
Dr. Chan, you are an international award-winning singer, songwriter. You're a novelist. You are an entrepreneur with Songs for You. And you're also a vocal coach, as well as many other things. You are an expert when it comes to the power of listening and help to facilitate listening courses for children and adults alike. Tell us a little bit more about your passion in working with people in the creative arts.
Well, Dr. JACALYN, as you know, I absolutely love creativity. I am a lover, absolute lover of creativity, and especially creative arts. And for me, it's really vital and important for me to, when I'm working with people, for them to, sorry, it's Teddy, my Teddy dog here, he's barking, so I apologize to that viewers for that. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, yes, I love to bring out people's creative genius. I think it's a key to people. I think it's a key to people's happiness to express who they truly are through their creative heart. And whether that be singing, whether that be poetry, whether that be writing songs, just bringing that confidence in a creative way. That's what really makes me happy.
Thank you, Dr. Chan, for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Thank
Even
you,
Teddy.
That's Teddy, right. We love Teddy. Teddy's part of the family as well. So you brought a wonderful guest, the first time for this person to be on our platform. And my understanding is that Sharon is going to be sharing a story that involves more than herself.
Yes. What is wonderful about this lady, Sharon, is the fact that on the Film and Music Show, it's not just about the people who are creative, but also their loved ones, celebrating their loved ones' creativity. And so when Sharon Mullen agreed to come along and express her late husband's story and her expression and her life story with him, we at Film and Music Show we're really happy for that, because we're always having the creatives, actually the artists or the filmmakers. So this is a first for Film and Music Show, and hopefully not the last, because I think it's really important to hear what the loved ones support and celebrate their loved one creativity. So without further ado, here she is, the beautiful Sharon Mullen.
Hi, Sharon. Welcome to the program.
Hi, it's nice to meet you, even though it's virtual. Thank you for welcoming me on your show.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. Where are you joining us from today, Sharon?
Pardon?
Where are you joining us from today?
London, not London, near London. We're in Margate in Kent.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for being here. So Madalene just shared with us, with our audience, that we are going to be hearing about your late husband and your late husband's story and how it impacted you, and then the legacy that your late husband left behind. So tell us a little bit more about what you want to share today.
Yeah, Paul was born in England, and at a very young age, I think he was 7 when he moved to East Africa. But during his youth, right at the beginning, even when he first started school, or nursery school, I think, they were commenting on his artistic abilities, even though they did say that his some of the lines on his pictures were too dark, that he pressed too hard on the page. But he continued with arts right the way through life, and I only ever knew him as an artist, as well as my husband, obviously. And he lived for art. Everything he did in his life was designing things, either for my 2 girls or eventually for his own ice cream parlors. He had 3 ice cream parlors in Tanzania, which was a very good place to have ice cream parlors because it was so hot being in the tropics. But he just lived for what he could do, and his art was showcased in his ice cream parlors. He actually built a big display from Disneyland USA, so that anybody that came in the shop could see all these different things that he was doing with his art in his business. And this brought him great joy because he just loved doing the artistic side.
I love that. That's so interesting that he had this artistic side, and he was also an entrepreneur with ice cream shops, which is beautiful. We do have several of his works that we're going to be sharing. But before we do, how would you describe the type of art that he created?
Yeah, it's very difficult because most people just either draw or paint or sculpt. But we exhibited some of his pictures in, I'm trying to think where, in Europe. And they said, we can't actually display these until you tell us what the name of this art style is, because it's something nobody had ever heard of before. And I said, well, we haven't got a name for it. She said, well, I can't put your pictures on the walls until I have a name. So I sat there for a little bit and I said, okay, we're going to call it SculpTechnique. So it's the word sculpt using a capital T between the sculpt and technique. So it's a shared letter, because it was the only way to describe something of the style of Paul's artwork.
I love that. Let's take a look at one of the pictures right now so people can get an idea of what we're talking about. Okay. Wow. What are we looking at here, Sharon?
Yeah, so you have an African warrior there. It's a young Maasai Moran. Up to a certain age, they're Morans before they become fully fledged sort of, what do you call them, chiefs or something. So the younger people come by the name Maasai Moran. So that's a young Maasai Moran there. Now that is not sculpt technique. That picture is actually what he calls shadow sculpture. So you can get you can see on the screen that there's a slight sort of shadowy image, not an actual sort of sharp designed image, but shadowed.
And would you say that it's 3D? It kind of looks like it is.
Yes, all his work was done in 3D. He wanted to actually showcase as much as he could, but when you're doing it on paper, it's not so easy. But he was able to build up his pictures by using supports from the back, between the back of the actual card he's used, because this is all made from card except for the beads. The beads are actual real beads he's used. So he wanted people to see it in sort of more detail, which you don't get if it's just painted on a flat background. You can't do that. So adding the real beads was a real big thing in doing this particular style.
And Sharon, you mentioned the word cards. What do you mean when you say cards?
card is just craft card, you know, not the thin paper one that you would buy for children to cut out pictures and stuff, but it's a slightly thicker card. It's not cardboard. It's a sort of like a whiteboard, but it is card. And so those using that as his background, as well as for building the sculptures on, gave the pictures a lot more depth and a much more secure feeling, because otherwise they would be sort of very sloppy and, you know, sort of move around too much. So this way he was able to make the picture almost come alive.
And I think we'll see that in this next one as well.
I was going to say, Dr. JACALYN, can I just ask a question about that other picture? Sharon, when Paul, did he actually take a picture of the young warrior in the field or in the atmosphere, or did he actually sketch sketch as in pencil first?
No, I think because he was brought up from the age of 7 in East Africa, he had a big advantage to just anybody trying to draw a picture of a Maasai. And again, there's limitations, because what you can actually do with a pen and pencil isn't quite the same as if you've got other things that you're working with. And he had no photographs to work with either. This was all from his memory. So he would just sort of decide, today's the day I'm going to sit down and do something, and up would come a picture.
Power of elevated memory.
Absolutely.
I thought he was mad, totally mad. The first picture he did, I went into the room and I thought, what on earth are you doing? He had this thick white card on the table, and I was looking down on this picture, and all I could see was what appeared to be like nail heads sticking out of this paper, out of this card, and thinking, has he lost his marbles? What's he doing? But actually, this was his supports to build his pictures up on. So he was actually working on that, because I just said to him, are you okay? And he sort of walked away. He said, yeah, I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It does. Let's take a look at this one. What are we looking at here, Sharon?
Okay, so that's the Lutheran church, which is on the seafront in Dar es Salaam, next to the harbour. And again, he's got that image absolutely perfect. All the proportions are, you know, the way they should be. I think he may have taken a photograph of that church before he went home and actually designed it. But it is absolutely as though that is a photograph of the actual church.
It looks so real, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like one of a model.
Yes,
like something
exactly.
In Disney Castle or something. Well, in Disney.
Yeah, he did do a lot of models, but that one, again, that was actually a picture that was in a frame.
Yeah,
he framed that picture.
It's beautiful. And what about the trees?
One member of the family has got it. I don't know who it is that has that picture. Oh, it's Carol that's got the picture. So
that's interesting. Actually,
Michael, I think my grandson Michael has it actually. So yeah,
I agree, Dr. JACALYN. Sorry, what is the trees? What is the material for the trees? Is it cabbage?
The trees. He went to. Well, I don't know how he actually did those trees. Most of the pictures later on, I know that he was able to, because we were in the UK, he was then able to go into a craft store and buy imitation sort of trees. But I think he actually made something up himself from the bushes or from something around and about the area we lived in.
Which makes it more organic.
It's really interesting. All right, I'm going to show a couple more, and then I want to ask you some questions unrelated. So look at this. This is beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so that is the fishermen, the African fishermen, that you can see them coming back from the sea. They've got their catch. They've been out fishing. And again, this is sort of a sunset picture. You can see the birds in the sky. And this, again, he didn't do on the seafront. He waited. When he went home, he did the sketching, and then he chose sort of backgrounds he wanted. He had it all planned out, and then he did the picture. And a lot of them he did in maybe 2 hours or less. Some of the more detailed ones obviously took a lot more, and some of them could take weeks to do.
But look at the detail work on the sand.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And that's one of the simpler pictures.
I was going to say,
Wow.
it would take me a whole lifetime if I started 20 years ago.
It was good therapy, because
Yeah.
at this stage, when Paul started doing this work, he was suicidal. He was so homesick for Africa that he didn't want to live anymore, because he wanted to be with the people he loved in the country he loved. So that was a difficult time for us all to get through. But this particular morning, when he woke up and decided to start doing this artwork, that was a changing point for us all, because then he became himself again. He was now in charge of what he was doing, what he wanted to do, that he loved doing.
And Sharon, was it a possibility for him to go back home, or you all to go back there, or not?
No, because we had to have work permits, because we were expatriates. And he went out there as a child. He was 7 years old when he went to Tanzania with his parents. And we had to have a work permit. We had 3 ice cream parlors that he had established in Dar es Salaam. So we had a very busy time. And because we were the only company at the beginning that was actually selling ice cream, as in a parlor, it was very, very popular. We would open at 9 in the morning, and sometimes not even close till 2 the following morning. So this was a new way of life for us, but we had to have a work permit approved by the government, and that worked for many, many years. And then suddenly, he didn't actually tell me this. I discovered after he had passed away that his last work permit actually had in red writing up on the top of this permit saying, "This is your last permit, it cannot be renewed." And that was his big, really slap in the face, like, you're not going to be here anymore, because without having a business, we weren't able to stay in the country anymore.
Wow, what a story. That's fascinating.
It's sad. It's very sad.
Extremely sad. And it did end up with him dying from a broken heart, really. And he developed cancer, and he just got worse and worse, and then he just passed away. And that was a really tough call for the whole family, because we knew why it had happened and how unnecessary it was for that to have happened.
Well, thank you for being here and being so brave to share the story. We do talk a lot about mental health wealth on this platform. I think it's a really important topic because so many people are struggling. So would you say, as Paul was getting more morose and depressed, that he was creating more projects, or was that dwindling as well?
No, he kind of went into his shell, although he started off by trying to fill his life with the positive things. Gradually, the loss of his friends, who were the Africans that we worked with and who worked for us in our businesses. We're having 3 shops. We employed a lot of people. And we had people who worked for us at home, because when you're working yourselves, you need somebody to take care of home and the children. So it was just difficult for everybody.
How long ago was this, Sharon?
It was 2006.
And the work that he created, are these pieces that were commissioned, or they were for the family?
Sorry, I missed that.
So the pieces that he created, the art that he created, was it for the family? Was it to be sold? Was it to be put into art galleries?
No, initially his aim was, I think, just to keep himself occupied, because doing artwork, something that he loved doing, and including the art mainly is African pictures, pictures of African places and people. That sort of gave him that sort of home base, like, I'm still at home. I might be in England. I'm forced to live in England now. But this was his little special place. And that's the only thing that kept him going as long as it did. And eventually, as he got more and more ill from being homesick, really, things were not really in a happy place.
Thanks so much for sharing that. I know
incredible story. Incredible.
Let's take a look at some other pieces of his work, so his memory lives on.
Oh, that's beautiful. The elephant.
Yeah, I think that elephant picture is very popular, actually. It's something about elephants that people seem to love. And that was just so true to the area that we went to. Of course, the colors he chose are an artistic sort of thing, aren't they? You know, you choose what you want. But yeah, I love the way he did the background of that with Mount Kilimanjaro behind the pictures. And we went up to Mount Kilimanjaro quite regularly. Went to that area because it was cooler in the north of Tanzania than it was down at the coast. And Carol also climbed almost to the top of Kilimanjaro as a young girl.
Is this in cardstock also?
Yes. All of them are made from card.
So what did he color the white cardstock with?
Sorry, I'm just trying to get the screen back up. I don't know what's happened here. The screen's gone off. Sorry, Carol's just trying to help me get the screen back on. Yeah.
Sharon, will we see the greenery?
I think he actually used colored card.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not coming back on, Carol. Oh, here we are. We're back on. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That, as you can see, that is also in 3D. Yeah. And each of those little pieces is cut out separately and put on what I can only say as a card pin. So instead of using sort of, excuse me, some sort of small pin or something, he's actually made them out of card, and that's holding the rest of the picture forward.
I love this so much. Sharon, honestly, if your Paul was alive today, I'm sure he would do a lot of creative education classes for children, with children for creativity. Because
yes, absolutely. And it has come down the family because Carol is artistic.
Yes.
And one of my great-grandchildren is artistic.
Sharon, so, Carol is for our viewers.
Sorry?
Carol is for our viewers. Who's Carol?
My daughter, Carol.
Okay. Oh, right. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Carol.
Hey, Carol. Are you watching?
Hi, Carol. Carol says hi back.
All right. How about this one, Sharon?
Okay, so that's the lion and the lioness. Again, it's sort of it's built out, as you can see. Again, each sort of whisker on their face is built out separately. So all of these things are standing with sort of card pins at the back of them, just holding them forward of the actual background of the picture.
It's really amazing. I'm just studying it. There's so much detail here.
I agree with you. It's just the grass is unbelievable.
It looks real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. How long did it take him to make this one?
Carol, do you know how long it took your dad to do the lion and lioness? No, she doesn't know. I think because we were at work and doing other things, the girls were at school and I was at work, he just did his art. And that was his big focus. He could focus on that and he didn't have to worry about anything else. Yeah.
Sharon, it looks like he was, sorry. There was a delay.
He was less depressed if he could actually get busy and do his art because that was his focus.
Now, who has this one?
Carol, who's got the lion lioness? We don't know. They're somewhere around the family. Most of the pictures are still with family. But I can't remember which picture belongs to who anymore.
Oh, that's okay. Let's take a look at another one. Okay,
so this, I believe, is a cheetah. I can't really see the face properly because it's at a side angle, but I think that one is a cheetah sitting on a sort of mound of earth. Because the sun bakes a sort of, it's a clay soil, so it bakes the clay soil into that sort of position, and then the animals would go and sit on top of it.
I don't know why I'm saying this, but it kind of looks like a bird, as if to fly. What I mean to say is, within
Like an owl or something.
Well, within his psyche, if
Yeah.
he didn't say what he wanted to say to you about the fact that he wasn't allowed to have to be a permit to Africa. So it's almost in the psyche, he's drawing a cheat. He feels he cheated you, but he didn't. Do you see what I mean? So he wanted to fly from the situation. So
yeah, that's true. That sort of thing is,
that's what I'm receiving from that picture. I don't know why. It just came through.
Yeah,
and it's like a bird.
I don't know. His
flying.
state of mind changed quite regularly until near the end of his life. Towards the end of his life, he had no pleasure in anything. So while he was still with it and still enjoying life to a certain degree, this was his focus. And while he was able to focus on that, and he was well enough to do it, things were okay. But I think gradually he stopped eating. And I've still got his food diary here, where you get sort of breakfast, no breakfast, lunch, no lunch.
Hello. Okay.
That's so weird. Everybody was gone.
Wow. Do you know, there's something really strange, because even with myself and Sharon, she'll say to me, you phoned me a few times, 6 or 7 times. I said, no, I didn't. I swear to you, it's the spirit of Paul. It's so powerful.
It could be.
It's happened 3 times now for myself and Sharon.
It's amazing. Well, I hope Sharon comes back. Let's take a look at some of Paul's
Oh my
other
goodness. Beautiful. I mean, he needs to be celebrated. Superb.
Very talented.
He could have really taught the children, because children would love this. It's learning, it's child art. It's beautiful. This is exquisite.
This is amazing.
Yeah. This is architectural art to me.
I think it would be neat to be able to see it from the side also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I love the palm trees.
I do too. And
Phenomenal.
even the fencing.
Yes. The intricate detail.
So much work. Let's see this next one.
He must have been I love the color. The sunset.
And it does seem like a lot of these images are coming from Africa, from his memory.
Yeah.
There.
Did he? I'm not quite sure. I didn't quite understand whether he did these art creations in Africa, or when he came back over to the UK.
I think it's when he was in the UK, because he was to go back to Africa and couldn't.
Oh my gosh. I just can't imagine being like 7 years old, going to Tanzania. Wow, that's like a dream. A different world completely. And then you grow up there, and then suddenly you're not allowed to be there anymore, since you've been there since 7 years old. I mean, I'm not trying to be political or anything, but I just find it very strange.
It is interesting, that's for sure. And the fact that it would affect him so deeply that his life and his health just started going downhill.
It just goes to show how art is so important. Creativity is it's a key to life, as well as the intellect and school subjects. It needs to be a balance. And we need to take creativity serious, because it's a balance. It keeps us happy.
Yes. And you know what else, Dr. Chan, that I think is just coming up for me, is we have this ability to keep thinking about negative thoughts. If you think about Paul, he wanted to go back and he couldn't go.
Yeah.
And that thought was with him probably every day. And he just, I imagine, just felt worse and worse. And we do that. I'm not saying that he did that to himself. I've done it to myself, where you just lock on to this negative thing or a worry or a stress. And all day long you're thinking about that. Then the next day you're thinking about that. And meanwhile, your life is going on and you're not actually appreciating anything that is happening now because you're holding on to this negative thought. And I have some great news for you, which is one of our team members, Dr. Sadia Rajput. She actually has a process for people to break this pattern of negative thoughts.
Oh, wow.
It's huge, isn't it?
That is huge. That really is. I find myself in a complete loop sometimes.
Yeah, and you know what? I wasn't planning on doing this, but since we have the time, we have this course that is called Unleash Your Mind's Potential, Transform Your Negative Thought Process. And we're actually offering it now for $19 instead of $287, $199. We're offering it for $19. And the reason being is that we had several people reach out to me and say, I can't afford that price. So we want people to be able to find how they can get rid of
$19. I'm signing up.
So it's actually on Monday. So either you can be there in person or you can.
Is it after AWP?
It's before, actually, but you can actually sign up for the Zoom link and you can watch it at your leisure. So I'll drop the link if anybody's interested in discovering how you can transform negative thought process with Dr. Sadia Rajput.
So treasures.
We have a couple of comments, and I know that. Let's see. Brenda, hello. Nice to have you with us on Facebook. I've seen Paul's artwork. It's amazing. It needs to be seen in real life to be even more truly appreciated. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
And
a gallery.
Carol is letting us know that they're having trouble with the power.
Oh, you do know that Carol is a poet and a fashion designer. She has her CT designs. She does her own designs. So I'm trying to... Come on, Carol, come on to this show, or even the Women in Business show, something.
Or fashion, travel, and fitness as well. Yeah. Sharon's still online, but no camera. So, Carol, just so you know, we don't see Sharon backstage. I just see myself and Madeline. So she's not actually on the StreamYard link, but that's all right. We'll have you back again if you're not able to link in. So while we have this time, Dr. Chan, I think it's important because you actually had the great idea of having Sharon come onto the show, and the title is Film and Music, but incorporating art as a way of having people experience Paul's work and continuing Paul's legacy. I really have to thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. I mean, it was actually Carol that reached out to me, and I actually thought it was Carol's work. And at the beginning I said, wow, Carol, that's amazing. Not only you're a fashion designer, but you do this. She's no, it's my dad's work. So it was a conversation going to and fro. And through that, I met her wonderful mom, Sharon Mullen. She's an amazing woman. I have a lot of respect for her. And she's going through her pain, and I do believe, in some way or form, it's still there, still trying to understand the reasoning of it all, but also wanting to celebrate the legacy, having her late husband's work out there, because it's something that she needs to do.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And, I'm really interested in your perspective on this because you are a soul heart awakener. I think to myself, I'm in my masculine energy quite often, and that could be a good thing or bad thing. It is what it is. But I also know that there's a side of me, the feminine side, that's more the emotional side. And what I find is that the emotions can be, for me, distractions to getting done the work that I want to get done. And so sometimes I feel like I wish I was less emotional and more stoic so that I could be more productive. And I know as a human being that's counterintuitive. I know you're not liking what I'm saying, but what are your thoughts about it?
I would say we're not robots. Now, the thing is, the whole point of emotions is from the emotions, we can come out of it and have a different perspective, and sometimes not be stuck in that loop. And I think it's important to keep going and be productive and productive. But you know what? It's so important to go out and go see that sea, sit down, just have that time on your own, not where you're constantly moving, constantly doing, but still. But a lot of people do not like still, because when they are still, they do not know what's going to happen. It's of the unknown. Whereas if they're productive, they know exactly what's happening. But if you're still, you're going into the unknown, and you don't have the tools to prepare to go into the unknown. But it's through going through the unknown, you will acquire new tools that you will be able to apply for all kinds of things that are thrown in your life. So that is productive.
I agree with you. I think I want to just clarify a little bit.
Yes.
When I say productive, I don't mean going into like a zombie robot mode where it's just churning things out. For me, it's really about my creativity. And my creativity is what drives me, because I was in corporate for so long, not actually using my creative side. That's okay. I had a great career. I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I wasn't as creative as I am today. So as you know, I'm constantly coming up with projects like, oh, what about this project, that project?
Yes.
And my point is that when something else happens that's outside of the realm of the creativity, and it plays heavy on my heart, or it tugs at my emotions, it's a distraction from me being in my happy place.
Right. So for example, are you saying if somebody upsets you or a certain situation and it takes your attention away from it,
Yes.
then it takes you away from your happy place? Then
Exactly.
yeah, I absolutely agree with you in that way. Some emotions are distractions for us if it's in the negative stance.
Yes, and I want to elaborate on that. And what I want to elaborate and say is that sometimes people, they let the emotional side completely take over. I can't work right now. I can't do it. I'm so upset. Meanwhile, all we have is time. And now the time that we could be finding joy, giving joy, bringing value is put on a shelf, because now we are going into this deep, dark emotional zone. So how do you manage to keep your emotions in check? Like, for example, and it might sound trite, but it's not. It's boiling hot over there. When you're in an environment where you cannot be comfortable, it's hard to stay focused because your body is literally reacting. And so your emotions start playing one on top of the other. So what do you do so you stay in your happy place?
Well, I've got to say, sometimes I get like that little voice going, oh, you don't want to go on there. Oh, come on, it's too much hassle. Oh, putting on those lights, setting it all up for the studio, it's too hot. Oh, come on, go outside, go have a drink somewhere, do this. And I have to stop and go, no. I have to show up because I have agreed to show up, and there's people that are wanting to see me be shown in a professional way, because I stand for the mothership of USA Global TV. I'm a representation of it, like many other of our hosts, and I have to show up professional. And that's what I take on board personally. But if there's a situation where it's totally out of my out of my control, where I can't do anything, for example, if I'm out and I can't get back in time, then of course that is outside of my control. But I generally just have to just stop and just recenter and say, come on, show up, be professional, show up. And then when you start thinking that, then you start getting that feeling that, yeah, the excitement again, because it's so easy to collapse when that ego, that little monkey goes, oh, you don't want to do that. Oh, no. too much hassle, too much effort. No. And a lot of people get this.
Yes, I love what you're sharing. Thank you for your honesty. I think something else is when we stop focusing on ourselves and we focus on others, like what you were sharing. You are a brand ambassador for our work here. You are a big part of what we do. You are my soul sister, and I do count on you, and I know you'll show up. So you take that part of I'm hot, I don't feel like doing this, and you put it aside and say, no, I am going to show up and do what it is I committed to doing. So I'd like to encourage people to embrace that and to take that in, that when you are feeling a certain way, if you start focusing or concentrating on how can you be of service to someone else, that not only brings value to the other person, but it also brings value to you. It gives you a sense of being, a sense of value.
It does, because as you were saying, Dr. JACALYN, time is all we have, and time is energy, and energy cannot be wasted. You cannot, we are not in the times of where we can waste energy, because time, you don't know how long you're going to be here. We have no idea. So make the most of your life every day. And time is essential. It's energy. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. But rest if you need to.
And I think a nice way to tie this all together as we come to the end of our show is that, especially in the film and music industry, in the creative arts, there are many times where people are not getting paid their value. And they're putting out some amazing content to entertain, to inspire, and yet they can't pay their bills because of the way the industry is, the industries, I should say. Even if you're an author, you know what it's like. So the point is that people will succumb and just say, hey, I have all this creative spirit. I've put all these beautiful things out there, but I can't even afford food. And it's things have to be turned around. So I'm asking everyone to remember, you are a masterpiece. You do have value. You do have worth. And it's not defined by your bank account or the number of followers you have.
Exactly.
It's all, everything you need is within you.
And also, I've come to realize a lot of people, Dr. JACALYN, who are in the film and music, if they're constantly 100% striving all the time, even though there's no money coming in, then it's time to balance it by having a little part-time job that will just bring in the little bit of money that will take off the hard part, that will take off the stress. Because it's money to live on a day-to-day basis. And I don't want to mean money for holidays. I mean just essential basic living. You have to make sure you cover that. So as well as you're going for your dream and you're striving with your brand and everything, you have to make sure you're bringing some resources that bring in basic living.
Well said, Dr. Chan. We have your banner up, but for people who cannot read it or they're listening on a radio channel, how can people reach out to you, and what are the services and the value that you can bring to them?
Right. Okay. If people can just email me, madalenecarolchan@gmail.com, MADALENECAROLCHAN @gmail.com. What I can bring to a lot of people out there is, if you're searching, life is not making sense anymore, and you really want to be in contact with your creativity, with your creative heart, with your soul voice, you want to awaken to a new way, to get onto your mission, to discover who you really are and why you're here. Or if you want a song about your life story or somebody else's life story, or just about a celebration, or if you want to be if you want to learn how to write a song as well, or even sing, this is what I can do. I can help you connect to your creative heart, which in effect will link you to your creative genius. And from there, we can start beginning a journey, and you will find out that you will express and live a fully abundant life, divine mind, divine soul, divine life.
Amen to that. Thank you so much. All right. We want to also put up Carol's banner again.
Yes.
So if you would like to see more of Paul Lambert Mullen's art, please go to this Facebook page, which I believe if you are looking at this on one of the platforms, you should be able to just click on it, or else copy and paste the information into Facebook. Or you can contact Sharon directly. Her email is her name, Sharon Mullen, SharonMullen 70 @gmail.com. And thank you so much, Sharon and Carol, for being here today. Thank you, Dr. Chan. And finally, I just want to put up this graphic again. If you're interested in the course, this is the actual one for Monday. And we have the link in the comments. So if you're interested in this course, you can go ahead and sign up, and you'll be able to meet Dr. Sadia Rajput as well as myself. We're doing it live on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. It's a 2-hour course where you'll take a brain fitness test, and you'll find out how trauma in your past life may have had an impact on the decisions that you're making today. So even though you feel like you've done the work, is your brain really healed? And how can you eliminate brain fog? And how can you find out ways to get rid of that negative loop of thoughts that come and come. It's like that tape recorder, you can't get rid of it. So join us live, or you can actually purchase the link to watch it whenever you want. So thank you again. Thank you, Dr.
Fabulous. That's a fabulous course. Everybody should take that, even school children.
Absolutely. Well, we're starting out. This is the first time we're offering through Eventbrite, and Dr. Sadia Rajput is not only a pediatrician, but she's also finishing her PhD. She is a business owner of the British School of Excellence, Pakistan, and she's a graduate of the Train the Trainer program with Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence. She's a very talented woman, and she's a mind disruptor.
So. I love it. Mind disruptor.
I love that too. All right. We are coming back with the Wise Ones with Mr. Red O'Loughlin. So please join us for that. I'll see you later. Bye, Dr. Chan.
Bye, Dr. JACALYN. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.